Two more important C# language features you'll need to be familiar with are the use of generic types and the yield keyword. What generics offer you is the ability to create methods and classes that aren't restricted to working with a single specific type. You're doubtless familiar with this already thanks to standard framework classes like list of T. And this generic class allows you to create strongly typed lists of any sort of object. So you can make a list of integers or a list of strings or a list of your own custom types like a list of customers. And it's thanks to generics that the library of LINQ extension methods are useful no matter what sort of data you're working with. Because they're generic functions, whatever types your collections or lists consist of, the LINQ extensions will be able to work with them. Now, the reason I'm bringing up generics here is that if you find yourself wanting to extend LINQ, as we'll be discussing later on in this course, it will be really useful for you to know how to write your own generic methods. So here's a very quick example of a custom generic extension method, which is generic because it can operate on an IEnumerable of T. Now, it is a slightly contrived example. You pass in a sequence and you get out a sequence that has every element in the original repeated twice. Although, believe it or not, I actually needed exactly this method very recently. And because it's a generic method, if I pass in a sequence of integers, 1 and 2 for example, then I'll get 1, 1, 2, 2 out. But I could equally pass in a sequence of strings, hello and then world, and I'd get out hello, hello, world, world. You can also see that this method is making use of another C# language feature, the yield keyword. And this is really helpful whenever you're creating methods that return an IEnumerable sequence. You just call yield return for each element in the sequence that you want to emit. And you can also use yield break if you need to exit your method early. So that was a very quick roundup of many of the powerful C# language features that support LINQ. And although it would have been nice to spend longer talking about each one, I'm going to assume for now that you're fairly comfortable with these. And if you want more detail, then there are plenty of other LINQ and C# courses here on Pluralsight that will take you through these in greater depth. And I haven't even touched at all on some of the more advanced concepts like expression trees, which effectively turn your lambda expressions into data structures that can be inspected and manipulated. And they're what power features like LINQ to entities. But I don't want us to get bogged down now in lots of technical details, so let's move on and see another reason why I think LINQ is awesome.